Due to the graphic nature of its content, listener discretion is advised.
From the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, we fight our country's battles in the air, on land and sea. First to fight for...
On this episode of Cigars and Sea Stories, we welcome fellow Marine and combat veteran Mr. Wade Spann to the show. He is a combat veteran of Ramadi, along with Justin and I, which is one of the main reasons why we connected, as well as an EBV grad. We're going to be discussing entrepreneurship and a few of those things, but Wade Spann served in the United States Marine Corps from August 2001 to August 2005. In 2010, he went back overseas as a private security contractor with a British firm. Love to hear more about that. Now you did EBV, now you're doing the private sector on software, a bunch of cool stuff. So, Wade Spann, welcome to Cigars and Sea Stories, brother.
Welcome. Thank you guys for the intro. I appreciate you guys having me on the show today.
No problem,
Absolutely.
brother. Anyone that's chewed the same dirt, especially them Jarhead and FMF Corpsman types.
Yeah, I love what you guys are doing on this show, guys. Can't say enough good things about it. I'm trying to feed all the guys that I'm still connected with that are doing stuff within the veteran community to your show to sort of, I want to, promote other veterans, because I might not have the best idea for a business, but they're doing something, they're making moves. And so I want to use you guys as a resource to connect these veterans to sort of get some visibility, so to speak. So I definitely want to, connect you guys with a couple veterans off the top of my head. I think they would really appreciate, one, the exposure on your podcast, and two, just chewing the fat with y'all. I think, as Marines, we had very similar experiences. I did, 03 did the invasion with Weapons Company 1-5, a fellow, I know you guys were Weapons 3-7.
Yet.
Yes, sir. But I was also in 1-5 as a police advisor.
Yeah, I remember you mentioned that on a couple of your old podcasts.
Yeah, make peace or die.
Yes.
Most
correct.
Decorated battalion in the entire Marine Corps.
That is true. It was it was an honor to be in 1-5. I mean, I was East Coast trained, did Parris Island. 9/11, of course, happened while I was on swim qual week, actually.
Fuck.
Yeah.
You're like,
Swim
shit!
again, motherfucker.
What the fuck? You're going to war! Oh my god, dude, that sucks.
It was an interesting time. I can't. I look back on it. I never saw the video of the actual planes hitting the towers until after I got out of boot camp. They sort of got us all together out of the pool, marched us back to the barracks. The DIs are just going ape shit on us. Say, hey, we're going to war, blah blah blah. But we're just sitting there, dumb recruits trying to piece together what is happening. They're saying we've been attacked, and trying to recollect. I know one guy from our platoon was his cousin was in the towers. I think my father was in the Pentagon the day before, in that very location where it got hit.
Shit, man.
Yeah, but no, like I said, nobody. I tell people these stories. Like, yeah, nobody called. I mean, the people that had family in New York that knew of like the World Trade Centers were allowed to call home. I think I might have been able to call a couple days later, but that day of, nobody knew what the heck was going on. It wasn't until the next day that we had the company commander come down and brief us all, and he did, they showed us still pictures from what I can remember. Now I've been hit in the head a couple times and blown up a few times, so my memory is not always the best.
Right? I would have thought it was part of the fucking training.
Exactly. That's
that's where my head would have been. I would have been like, these people are fucking with me, so that way they turn me into an animal. But I'm cool with it. But I'm totally cool with it. You turn me into a fucking animal. I'm cool with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Then once it sunk in, at the time, they were recruiting for Yankee White program.
Oh yeah.
And I remember sitting down that interview, and dumb recruit was a little nervous, but I was like, I had the understanding that if we're going to war, I don't want to be a Yankee White. I want to be with a Victor unit. So, the decision was made. Graduated and went to Geiger. Had a freezing time in Geiger. It was over this winter. And then deployed to 1-5 in 2002. Ramped up. Supposed to go on a float. I've never touched ship in the Marine Corps. They always flew me. So did that.
That's what
did
it's
the
all
invasion.
about. That's what the deploying units over off the West Coast do. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, it was a great. I mean, I had the honor to be really serving with some great Marines. My senior enlisted guys, you know, as a boot, they taught me a lot of things. But you know, I learned a lot from them. You know your job was the most important.
Mm-hmm.
Know your job inside and out. And I think I've taken that outside into the civilian world. But yeah, did the invasion. In fact, our battalion had the first casualty of the war, Lieutenant Childers.
Wow.
Yeah, that happened about, I want to say 400, 500 meters in front of us to my right.
So
we were taking the Ramallah oil fields.
What was so when you're on the LOD? Where were you on the LOD?
They changed the name so many times. We were RCT 5.
Yeah, but I mean, like, all right, on the Kuwaiti border, on the north. Where the fuck were you? You know what I mean? Front, left, middle.
I want to say we went to the. I think we had some adjacent units to our right and to our left, because the Army was to our left. Yeah, because they went through the desert. We hit, and we had the mission to take the Ramallah oil fields first before the Iraqis were going to set them on fire and blow them up. So we came over that berm. We say that we were the first units in, then I heard the Army said that they were the first units in. Either way, I think we're all pushing up north pretty quickly. And since we were a cap platoon, we sort of led the charge.
Hell yes.
That was an amazing 72 hours. Going into, you know, we were unboxing all the ammo. Just thinking about it right now is giving me goosebumps. You know, that was...
Giving you goosebumps? I have a full-blown erection in SoCase right now. I want you to know. Thinking about that. In a cat team.
And that was Lightskins, right? Lightskin. They weren't up armors for nothing. So
for whatever reason, we thought the windshields were bulletproof, but that was it. You know, and no, that's not bulletproof either. We found out.
At least you were light, so you can actually maneuver those motherfuckers around.
Yeah, but they were so weighed down with, you know, because we looked like Bedouins. We had gypsy trucks because all of our packs were on the sides.
They're like fucking bongo trucks rolling through the desert.
Yeah, that was an interesting time.
That's awesome.
But yeah, it was, you know, the ROEs were, you know, liberal, we'll say.
So upset right now.
Yeah, it was. I remember the
jealous.
first time we pulled up to another unit. Their AAV. They were on the left side of the AAV, and there's a small little mud town to the right on the side of the road. And they're like, "Yeah, we're taking shots from that town," and we pull up. We're all online, the cap platoon. So I was in a tow truck, but our tow trucks had 240s mounted on top.
Hell yes.
I was a javelin gunner for them.
Oh, you're a 51?
Yeah, dismount. I was the 51.
Oh, fuck yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I loved it. But then, you know, we had Mark 19s and 50 cals. And sure as shit, as soon as we pull up, you know, we're talking to the Marines, and there's a couple cracks over our head. Platoon online just unloaded. I remember looking out the window and seeing Doc with his 9mm out, slanted sideways, shooting it like a gangster.
Yes. Yes.
It was fun.
So did he have like a hand on the crotch where the nut protector should have been, but you tucked it up underneath?
We never wore the nut protectors.
Dude.
That shit fucking stayed in our sea bags.
You're lucky as fuck. They had us wear that shit around, and I used to tuck it up underneath all the time anyhow.
Yeah, I think in 2005, that's when they started coming down on that bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for some reason, I really appreciated that. Maybe you guys don't like your junk, but I really do. And if some little piece of shrapnel was going to fly at me, I had that bitch on and covering myself the whole time. Maybe it's fear, but...
I think in those early years, it was more the invincibility. We all thought we were invulnerable. I mean, looking back on it now, especially in 2004 when we did the spring offensive in Fallujah. I remember, and I was just talking about this to another Marine the other day, when we got the deflection shields on the guns, on the 50 cals and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because second tour I was in a gun truck then, and I remember we were just calling making fun of each other, calling them pussies getting behind those bullet shields. But I mean, we quickly realized the value in them. We were still on armored Humvees, but with the bullet shields on top, and we just young and thought you were invincible, I guess.
You know why? You know why I hate it? Because that fucking nut protector doesn't do anything when you're sitting in a truck.
Exactly.
And I'm not going to tuck that thing in between my sweaty sack and the leg that is near me. It's going to be like stanking with Famunda cheese.
No, you don't want
Right?
that.
Before
No,
I hop in the Humvee, I'd tuck my nut protector up inside. I'd rather, right? I mean,
Yeah.
like,
You don't want, yeah. And plus, if you get that thing dirty, good luck cleaning it because Sif won't accept it.
right.
Why does it smell like sack?
Shit. This is how, I mean, when I first got to the fleet, Sif didn't exist. We still got equipment
Right.
issued from the supply.
Yep.
That's, and yeah, it was crazy. Looking back on those times, you know, it was a cool time to be in the Marine Corps, I thought. Really, really prime time.
Like a lot of transition, a lot of that. Well, because you guys being the first ones through, I mean, it wasn't like you had senior Marines that were fucking, you know, war tested, unless they were, you know, Desert Storm guys or the.
I think out of our
occasional
whole
permitted.
battalion, there was one.
Right. So I mean, nobody had that kind of, I don't want to say chip on their shoulder, but you know, like being a boot was probably different for you than it was for us coming up in 04.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I remember when we got back and we had a few boots as rear party or whatever they're called when we came back from that first time, and we were just savages to them.
Oh, they had no idea. They were just like, fuck.
Yeah, because we did the invasion and we had some pretty kinetic operations. I remember we had some incoming come in, and that was sobering. That little fighting hole, foxhole, whatever, isn't deep enough. As soon as you start hearing those rounds coming, the Iraqis were able to get 3 rounds off on our push before we crossed over Saddam's bridge. They, for whatever reason, but our counter batteries just demolished them quickly after that. But yeah, that was sobering. And then crossing across Saddam's bridge. That was a crazy engagement. You know, we were up there with the Abrams tanks, and I remember we were pushing up, and there was a long column of the AAVs, and you could see the airburst of the 81s that they were shooting at us. Yeah, there's actually we had an embedded reporter with us.
Yeah,
filmed some of it.
Here's what I don't want to have happen: 82 millimeter Chinese mortars firing Willie P at me. That's not cool.
Shit, our lead gun Chevy, they had one of those Zeus tank trucks, the AA truck.
Oh yeah.
That thing was leveling down and you know aiming towards him, and he lit it up with his slap rounds.
Fuck yes.
Yeah,
Just tore that motherfucker up.
yeah.
Weren't they trying to take out that bridge too before you guys got to it? Like, weren't they putting charges on it and shit?
Honestly, I think so, but you know, there's so much scuttlebutt. I mean, you ever seen what's it called?
Fuck, I haven't heard scuttlebutt in years, my friend.
Shit, what was it? Generation Kill. I fucking love that part in the beginning when they're like, yeah, J-Lo got killed. We all heard that fucking rumor, and we all were like fucked up for a few days until we realized it's probably just a rumor.
Right. 9/11 in boot camp. Now J-Lo's dead. The fuck is going on in the world, man?
Yeah,
shit is going down.
It was different. I mean, I don't know. It was a good experience. In invasion, we did that. Pushed up through Saddam's bridge, and went through it was Saddam City, but now it's called Sadr City, out in the west of Baghdad. Through the slums, and that was a unique experience. Trying to stop these guys from looting police stations and running out with RPGs and shit like that. Not shooting them, you just had to take it out of their hands and say, "Run, get the fuck out of here." And then we came into Baghdad. We had Saddam's last public appearance was near this huge mosque, and we had an SF unit attached with us, and so we went in at night. I was in a high-back truck at that time because they were like, hey, we need you to do your breaching. So all of the 51s and weapons company, we all got together in the back of a high-back with our red lens flashlights and started making breaching charges as we were pushing up.
Yes.
And we got into the borders of Baghdad, and they set off a huge 18-wheeler like gas truck. They detonated that thing, sort of to signal everybody that the Fedayeen troops let them know we were coming in. So we came in, and it was... we called it the gauntlet because literally the whole battalion, and we had some tanks with us. We had to go through this one like kill zone, and you had NVGs on, and you just saw all these like IR lasers.
Now, which NVGs were they? So we get some context.
7 Bravos.
Nice.
Come on
The
now.
useful ones.
Shit, my second deployment, I didn't even get issued NVGs. I can't, if I can recall correctly. It was weird. You know, you all had equipment in the first time, and then shit got combat lost, and now second deployment now didn't have that shit. But yeah, went through Baghdad, 8-hour firefight, and the scary thing was whatever we had taken a wrong turn, we had to basically do a battalion U-turn, and so you're on the highway or one of the main roads, MSRs, and you're flipping a bitch, and you see all these IR lasers pointed at you because you're like, oh, these are our guys. Stop pointing that at me.
To the rear.
Shit, you know, there was tons of. I mean, those guys came out of nowhere, and I mean, miracles happened that day for sure. One of the 81's platoon sergeants got shot in the head, and the bullet literally skipped around his bald head and over his Kevlar, and out the other side. Yeah,
we had a similar thing happen to Frosty.
Yeah.
Went in through his cheek, cut around just made kind of this beeline around his skull, and then came out the back of his neck.
No.
Yeah, and we were in Fallujah on that second one. We actually heard about that, or I either heard about it then or it was afterwards. It was somebody gotten shot in the mouth, headshot, and it just went out the back of their head, and it just didn't hit anything vital.
Okay, so it went around to his jawline, skipped up, still on the inside of the skin, and then popped out near the back. And the rumor is Doc had him come down and wanted him to spit his dip out. And Frosty was like, fuck that, dude. This is stateside Copenhagen. And he went back up and kept rocking on the 240. So
nice.
It is called Cigars and Sea Stories, right?
Yeah. I got some good sea stories. I don't want to incriminate myself or throw anybody out, but yeah,
allegedly is all you gotta say.
Yes. So we did the invasion of Baghdad. Gunny Boer from Alpha Company got killed in that 8-hour firefight. It was crazy. We hit the palace, and we get into the palace, and it's been already J-damned the shit out of it.
Right.
And we start setting up. Alpha Company has to go hit that mosque where they had the video of Saddam released, and the Fedayeen tried to like overrun the position, and we had A-10s come in, do close air support. We had FACs.
Yeah.
We had those guys.
Yeah,
we had those guys coming in and having we had a CH-46 come down to do dust off to pick up some of our wounded in our captives and drop off ammo and shit like that. And as it's pulling up, RPGs just right by the. I was like, oh shit, that was close. That was very exciting times. Then stayed there for like 3 or 4 weeks, I think, at most, and then we pushed down to Diwania and rotted down there for a couple months, I think. Yeah, the palace we took over became. I don't know if you ever heard the documentary Gunner's Palace.
No.
There's a documentary. It's Army documentary. They guys in the RD unit. They came and relieved us, and so we did him out down to Diwania. Went down to Diwania. 3-5 was down there. We were down there, and basically all of May and into June we just sat there and rotted, and we all got Saddam's revenge and just crapped our brains out. And
Saddam's revenge, right? Yeah. I'm looking at this Gunner's Palace. Yeah, I've seen this before. I haven't
that's
watched it yet.
It was funny. Like we were in. Well, there was this. Became the headquarters for the battalion. But that first day in there, when we secured that area, we were in this one little. It was a catwalk in the middle of a little man-made lake, and they had this octagon type palace where Uday and Kusei used to do entertainments and shit like that.
Yeah. And
I go in there, and some of us and some not Alpha Company, it was another probably Bravo or Charlie guys. There's a doc trying to shoot the chandelier down with his 9mm. Guys are just going apeshit in there. Right. I open one of the kitchen drawers, and I drop a deucer in one of the drawers.
Absolutely.
After I took off the knobs to the kitchen cabinet.
Little did you know that it was going to be used for
I feel bad for that working party.
Right?
I mean, the guys were just going apeshit in there. But yeah, it was fun times.
And then colonel's like, why is there shit in this drawer? God damn it!
Goddamn savages!
They shat the drawers on the way out. Fucking bastards.
Then 04 was another. So we came home in June. What else? Yeah, it was a neat. So normally you get a boot drop when after your first deployment. Instead we got a boot NCO drop. So all us Lance Coolies sort of got the shaft, I think, in our unit. It was real distinct because we had all these lat moves and all these retreads come in. And one of my buddies was a retread who came in with him, Saparsky. But the rest of them, one was a cook, so we called him Cookie. There was a couple of them were good. Other ones, they were moto, but they kind of were still pogues. And so they had to learn the hard way, I think, understanding us and why we were such belligerent assholes to them.
Yes.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. We had this one sergeant. He tried to get us in formation and then call us attention to marchers to the armory, and we just started laughing at him. It was.
Oh no! Garrison's dead. War has started, my friend. You're gonna have to jump off that bandwagon right quick.
Yeah, so it was fun times. And the guys I served with were probably like you, best dudes best guys
Oh yeah.
And then my second tour was in Fallujah during that spring offensive, when the Blackwater guys got murdered. Oh
yeah.
That was a great fucking time to be a Marine. I was working under time Lieutenant Glover, who's the man, the myth, the legend.
Right.
I don't know if you ever read about him. He's a bad motherfucker, ice cold on the radio, just cool on the radio. Just you'd follow him. I'll follow him back to Iraq right now with an MRE spoon if you ask me to. He's I think you got a Silver Star for that in Fallujah.
Nice.
My vehicle commander was Sergeant Saparsky, who was a retread. I think he was a retread. He had left 3-7 before 9/11.
Held.
Yeah, and then was working in Vegas, and then got married and said, "I'm going to go back in the Marines." And great leader.
Got divorced.
No, his wife. Yeah, him and his wife are together. He's probably one of the best leaders I ever had the pleasure of being with him. And I was in his truck for both Fallujah and Ramadi. And he led me through some shitty situations, but he was always morale and smartest guy on the platoon. So we were always lead vehicle, thanks to him.
So he was a 51 also.
No, he was a machine gunner.
I'm just kidding.
Did he have the Bible? Gotcha. Did he have not to confuse anybody? Did he have the machine gunner's Bible, in his dump pouch with him?
He memorized all that shit. Like he could spout off all that sort of stuff. Yeah. On. It's been. You gotta give me a break, guys. It's been a few years.
Right.
So I couldn't tell you all the stuff I've forgotten. But yeah, Ski. He got a Bronze Star with us during Fallujah. We got in a couple hairy ambushes. Our driver got shot through the firewall in one of the ambushes, and we were in the kill zone. It was quite a predicament in Fallujah, and that was
through
still
the firewall. So through
Yep.
the engine.
Well, I mean, it came in. The driver's seat is. The engine's kind of in the center. This was kind of to the left of the engine block.
No shit.
And
Dude, I told you that same thing happened to me.
Yeah.
I told you. It went on either side of my leg. It blew a hole right through the trousers on either side of my leg. The second we got back to HP, I burned those fucking trousers. I'm like, that's too close to comfort. I ain't throwing that shit back on.
Peter, great. He was an older guy, and so we always gave him shit for that because his nuts stank. But he got shot, and we were in an ambush.
And yeah. Where specifically, like on the leg?
No, it actually. So it went about an inch below his, or to the right of his nutsack. So it went through his thigh and out his ass.
Whoa.
Well, thank God thigh and ass versus testicles and dick.
Well, and thank God he didn't get it through the femoral too.
Yeah, no, it was a lucky shot. Whew. And back in that time, we didn't fly him out to anywhere. He stayed in the rear in the fob. And so you guys, I know you guys on your show have said you don't mind cooks. I have a extreme distaste for cooks.
Let's hear it.
So, we the whole battalion gets mobilized and we go out and to do assault on Fallujah. Fixed bayonets, by the way. That was pretty sweet.
Hell yes.
And so the cooks and some of these other guys have to pick up the guard duty of the fob while we're gone. And some of these guys, I remember this guy from Alpha Company or Bravo. He had drop mags on his leg, and he had gotten a shot in those drop mags, and they sort of detonated. So he had a big chunk in his leg, like a nice baseball hole in his leg. And he was on light duty, but he was rear, and so for whatever reason, a lot of these wounded guys were having to do kitchen duty. So the cooks would stand behind these guys and make them stand and do portions and take the trash out, while the cooks just sat back and smoked and joked and just made sure that portions were heaved out evenly. And from then on, I was like, that's fucking bullshit. And they complained about having to do guard duty on their own fob when we were the ones in Fallujah. So I didn't have quite a great time with those guys. And then when Knee Peter gets shot, Glover was like, listen, if they come to get you to do that shit, you let me know. You're not doing that crap. You're on bed rest. Heal up. And so Knee Peter didn't have to do that, even after Gunny Furman, or Master Sergeant Furman afterwards, tried to get him. Master Sergeant Furman was
doing light duty working parties.
Yeah, fucking shit.
Fucking Marine Corps. Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah, but,
the hell?
I mean, was there no give back? Like, hey, cook, I'm not standing here while I'm going to sit and make sure you're doing your job. Like, no one.
Man, it was. Hey, I'm just a Lance Corporal at the time, so I don't want to get into that fight.
Right.
But yeah, Captain Glover was, or Lieutenant Glover at the time was well aware of it, and he made sure to defend our guys and take care of them. But yeah, that was bullshit. And then, so we did the offensive in Fallujah. We did a trap mission, our platoon, because we were QRF for the battalion. We did a trap mission one night. A 53 got shot down with an RPG through the pilot's cockpit. And I guess the other bird with him came down and picked those guys up and sort of cleared the bird. But we got the AC-130?
Yeah.
The Finger of God showed us. It was south of Fallujah, and we went down there. I had the Finger of God point us to the right place. Sat on that. In the morning, we started getting bracketed by mortars.
You guys called that the Finger of God? We called it Sparkle Dick.
At night, we used to put on the frequency, and its call sign was Slayer. And we would, in Fallujah, when we did that initial push into Fallujah that night, we had Slayer coming above us, and we were in the industrial district, but across the MSR Michigan was the residential district, and literally we were on one side of those damn buildings, and we were on the rooftops, and Slayer was just laying a waste across in the residential areas because they have all that high speed cameras and shit like that, so they were just fucking shit up. It was pretty sweet to see.
It's terrifying.
Pilots
I would never want to be on the other end of that.
Pretty chill on the radio too.
Sparkle Dick is so much better, though.
I like that.
Can we agree to that?
Agreed. Fact. So yeah, Sparkle Dick took us down there. We sat on that. I think it was a Pavlo or whatever, 53s, Super Sea Stallions.
Yeah.
And in the morning, like I said, we started getting bracketed with mortars. And one of our trucks, so this is back when the only armor we had was, the old high backs with the green plated armor on the sides. We thought that was the Gucciest thing ever.
Ugh.
and then the hardbacks we had, they were like
sandbags.
Sandbags, yep. Clip-on sappy plates for the doors.
Yep.
They were like these big, huge, like industrial-sized sappy plates.
Yes. They were like Kevlar blankets on steroids.
Yeah, but yeah, exactly. Black one, and that was our protection. Looking back on that now, I'm like, wow, I'm surprised we didn't all get fucked up.
Dude, that was our high back when we were in Ramadi.
Yep, yeah. You see, your medical evac truck, yeah.
Well, and we laid down a lot of those sappy blankets, and you'd clean it out as best you could, but you're going to be putting stretchers, litter, all sorts of stuff. I mean, if we were lucky, like on the second tour, we had a MAC kit. But on the first one, it was like bolted on armor.
Well, he knows.
You only had
was there.
one quarter.
He transitioned with us.
Right. You gave them to us,
Yeah, well, I wish we were actually joking about our truck because we were doing a patrol, and this is when we all got spanked in my truck out in a town called Al-Karma. Go figure. Yeah, our truck. So we did Fallujah. They stopped us there, and our truck was just loud as fuck. We had bullet holes in our exhaust pipe. Our truck was mean. It was a bad motherfucker. It scared children when we came through like little towns and shit like that.
Hell yes.
But we were joking about it, and that day we had just taken lead because we had gotten stuck from the high back, which thank God the 2155s didn't hit them. And that's when we got fucking one in the front, one in the back on our unarmored Humvee, and we had just laid down ballistic blankets. And that's what saved all our asses. Yeah, I don't remember a whole lot, but big boom, everything went black. I remember hearing knee Peter. He had just come back to our truck. He gets shot and then gets blown up with us. And I remember hearing him scream. And that's one of those, you don't want to hear a grown man scream like that. It fucking chills you to the bone. But I don't remember a whole lot. Evidently, Glover pulled me out of the truck. We all walked away from it, actually, surprisingly.
Jesus.
Yeah. All our bells were wrong. But like I said, when I explained these to the people, like, nowadays, they're like, well, why didn't they medevac you guys out? Why didn't they do these TBI tests? I was like, they didn't know what the fuck a TBI was.
Wait, all right.
I took shrapnel to the back of my head, so I had an open head wound for 3 months after that. The good thing was I didn't have to get a haircut because we can't have those little pieces of hair fall in that wound. So first sergeant was losing his mind.
It's the little things, man.
I'm in there.
The little things. Did he make you like duck butt it? Like go straight. Dude, I would have gone Thunderdome. If it was on the back, I would have just started that whole thing where it's like above the ear, shave it all the way up nice and high, keep it duck butt in the back like mohawked out, and just Thunderdome the fuck out of people. Knife hand and boots and shit. Combat replacements. What do you think?
That would have been a good idea. Instead, I just grew it out. And, I have
straight belligerent, no big deal.
Jufro, so it got I'd blow it out. I'm not Jewish, but people say I look like it. But yeah, no, it was.
You look like a schlemiel. What do you?
Yeah,
a schlemiel.
I tell people like we medevaced out, did our own medevac to Camp Fallujah. They pulled the shrapnel out of the back of my head, and they had me in ski stay overnight for our concussions, they called it at the time, and then I was released back to my platoon the next day. Had like 3 or 4 days bed rest, and then I was back on patrol. And this was right before we were coming home. We were going to start doing the left seat, right seat. So there was no point in me, like flying out early or anything like that. So I had to, twice a day, they had to unpack my head wound and pack it back in.
How'd you get your fucking Kevlar on? That back strap part, you just like lower that down?
No, it stopped. It literally stopped at the base of my skull, an inch to the right of my spinal cord. So it kind of hit that grundle area in between the Kevlar and the actual strap.
The grundle.
Yeah, the taint.
The grundle on the back of the head.
Yeah.
The back of the head grundle, just to specify for all of our listeners. Not the one between your legs. We're talking about the grundle on the back of your head. That one.
Yeah.
Up near, not the fallopian tubes under the chin, but the grundle at the back of the head.
Yeah, it was. I was very fortunate. I think everybody in our truck was fortunate, and like I said, we all walked away. We all had our bells rung real bad. I mean, 2 people in the truck behind us in LT's truck got fucking concussions from that explosion. So, talking to Josh about it later on in life, he was like, "Yeah, I thought you guys were just done," and because of the smoke, like we all, the dust kicks up and everything like that, and you couldn't see us.
Right.
Luckily, we didn't fall in because there was a canal to our left. Had we yeah, I would have been. I'm a non-swimming fuck either to begin with, and having your head hit and that equipment at the time, no, I would. We would all been dead. So I'm very fortunate.
Shit, man.
But yeah, that was second deployment, and then third deployment was Ramadi. They fapped us all out, so normal thing. 2 deployments and you get fapped out and you go do your own thing. And I was marksmanship training unit, 5th Marines, at the MTU.
Hell yes.
That was a great
fuck yes.
Great job.
Dude, I have so many kick-ass videos on the indoor ISMIT.
Yeah.
We did.
You know exactly what you did.
Oh, my God. Such a good fucking billet. Hell yes.
Yeah, that was fun. But I got attached to 5th Marines, and man, I don't do well in garrison. None of our platoon did well in garrison, I would say. We were pretty much known as like the belligerent platoon for the whole battalion. We got ourselves in a lot of trouble. Shit, I got NJP'd. I got my ninja punch. Oh, shit. Right when I got to the fleet for Tijuana.
Allegedly.
No, I was in the wrong.
No, yeah, that's right. No, it's so they got me.
Yeah,
They got me. Was that battalion or company?
Company.
Oh, you're lucky.
Yeah, no, they 14. But the thing was, we were at division schools at the time, and so we were in Camp Margarita, in squad bays, trying to hide out from the duty when you're on fucking restrictions. Sucks.
Not happening.
Yeah,
Oh God.
all sorts of bitch work. There's 3 of us. There were 6 of us that went to Tijuana, and 3 of us got arrested by the federales.
I rode my motorcycle back up to 29 Palms to see my wife when we weren't allowed to go off base, let alone ride a motorcycle. And then I came back late.
Ooh.
Because my bike broke down on the way back. So they were like, "Yep, restricted to quarters," and it was the same shit. Only thank God I didn't get an NJP.
No, but the thing was, I still got my good cookie because it happened so early on my fleet time that.
You still had 3 years.
Yeah, I still had. I was like, sweet.
That's how it's done, people. Making Chesty proud, goddammit.
Yeah,
that's what's up.
I always managed to get in trouble, but stay above the serious trouble.
Right.
I had a knack for that. But yeah, I did. Me and my buddy had come through the gate one time, and whatever happened at the gate. Next day, Sergeant VB's smoking the shit out of us. He wants me to dime out my buddy, and I'm just not going to do that. So, guess who had to do early working party up to Bridgeport?
Oh.
This guy.
At
That
least
was
it's
actually
Bridgeport,
cool
though.
Right, Bridgeport's cool.
It was beautiful. Early working party, yeah, it sucked. I was on kitchen duty, so I had to wake up at like 4 a.m. It was June. It was still like freezing up there and cold as fuck. But luckily, so the day the battalion showed up, we had a mountain warfare survival school was going on.
Yep.
And allegedly somebody started a fire. One of those assholes started a fire,
Dummies.
and it caused literally this huge forest fire. And I remember seeing the planes that dump the water. I don't know what they're called. Flying on the mountain crest behind us, dropping water. Like the camp itself was threatened to get burned down.
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit!
And so literally, as battalion showed up, they put them all on the buses. They put us on the buses, and then they drove us back home. Index. The whole place got evac'd. So I was
Jesus
like, sweet.
Christ.
Yeah.
All right,
That was a good time.
In prepping for this, Mike was telling me kind of a short, brief version of why you had chosen to reach out to us and come on the show. And I wanted to kind of go through that. I want to make sure that, because we had mentioned right when we got to Ramadi, they had the story of one of your guys' gunners that had unfortunately unloaded onto an IED. And first,
Herrera.
I wanted to make sure that we had not fucked up that story and that we did him proud and brought no shame, so to speak. And then also I wanted to hear your perspective on that because that was kind of one of those eye-opening moments for us coming in as first deployment, you know what I mean? So...
Cigars and Sea Stories is proud to support and sling Counter-Strike Coffee. Counter-Strike Coffee, I want you to know, is meant to be drink black. Now, I myself love coffee. I'm a big coffee drinker. I went away from black coffee for a little while. Needed the cream and sugar when I was rocking it with the generic blend. Counter-Strike Coffee brought me back into the fold in a huge, huge way. They do a great dark roast. I'm a big fan of napalm. That's my fave. Smooth operator is good, though. It can go with cakes and pies, and I got a bit of a sweet tooth. I know a couple of us do, you know. And then also Firewatch. I mean, Firewatch, that's going to be the kick in the ass that you need in order to get your day going the right way. You know what I'm saying? If you haven't already done so, check out counterstrikecoffee.com. Use promo code Cigars and Sea. You will get 10% off. Again, that's counterstrikecoffee.com. Use promo code Cigars and Sea to get yourself 10% off.
Yeah, so I'll first say I was not there when it actually happened. So that third tour, they brought us over there as a third timers. I'd had stomach surgery in January for acid reflux, very evasive. They cut my lat muscle in half. Went home on convalescent leave for 30 days, and I broke my hand in a bar fight before I came back to the unit. Because Ski called me up and was like, "Hey, you're going to deploy with us. Do you want to be in my truck?" I was like, "Fuck yeah, that's the only reason I'm going to go." And so for the third timers, there was definitely the toll of stress had taken its toll on us. So some of the guys, weren't going to make that deployment, but the guys that were, I'm going to do the deployment if they have to do the deployment. So Ramadi was a tough one. Got out there. This is when like things started changing in combat zones. I got yelled at. We got treated worse than the boots did, and it just was it left a bad taste in my mouth. I'm getting my body locked for not having my cover on when we just got done with a patrol.
It's like, what the
I'm like,
fuck?
Fuck this. Yeah, I'm like, fuck this.
Right.
Yeah, they tried to NJP me and my boy because they said we stole a thermal optic on post, and I was like, well, one, we never had the fucking thermal optic. You guys never told us about this piece of kit.
Right.
So you go fuck yourselves. And that same lieutenant that was trying to fucking be a hard ass with me, he was the platoon commander for Herrera. And from my understanding, from what I heard from the boys, was he told Herrera to do the detonation, to shoot that. Unfortunately, that happened to Herrera. Herrera was a great guy. He was Honduran. And I have an affinity for Hondurans. I grew up with one of my best friends is a Honduran through and through. And so, I had that connection with him. As me being a little bit senior to him, I think he was on his second deployment. Yeah, he did Fallujah with us. So, we knew pretty good buddies. But, I was home, going to school. And that I heard that word and that fucking hit me right in the, right in the feelings area. So, it was bad news to hear, but yeah, no, that was the purpose of I was listening to the podcast and you guys started talking about it. And what was weird was when we showed up to do the right seat, left seat with the, I think it was 2-4.
Mm-hmm.
One of their guys was in the smoking pit at Hurricane Point like a week before, and a mortar had hit him. And so, each rotating unit it seems like each rotating unit had one of those stories where it was like, man, that fucking sucks.
So it's one of our senior Marines. It was a Lance Corporal about to pick up Corporal Swanberg, and him and Del Toro were smoking with, I think it was one or two other soldiers, but Del Toro kind of like flicked his smoke, went into the chow hall, because it was, you know how it is, right there you've got the chow hall across the street. Well, like the chow hall in Charlie Med, across the way you've got the lineup where you park all your trucks and stuff. And then you've got the Army barracks, and if you keep walking all the way through, you'll eventually get to the PX on the right-hand side. So we were still over there in that transient quarters, and we had walked across, or they had walked across, smoked cigarette, flick butt, walks inside, and then the mortar just hits the smoke pit.
Damn.
And, I mean, it was Swanberg and I believe one or two other soldiers. That happened while we were out on a RIP patrol. We were clearing do you remember the waste treatment center, the water treatment center?
Yeah, right next to North TCP, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we fucking cleared that with like a section. And it was just, oh my God, dude. And I was booed as fuck. And I came back to the truck just like, holy shit, man. Is this what it's going to be like the entire time? And when we get to the clearing barrels, they tell us Swanberg died.
Holy shit.
And it was awful. It was literally on that patrol that I had heard about Herrera. They were filling me in on command detonation. That's why I say this sea story, is because they were filling me in on command detonation because we had a possible near ECP North.
Mm-hmm.
And so we pushed further past the waste treatment center, the water treatment center, and that was where basically one section left a truck, and then they went down that road and over to the south and posted another. So it was like ECP North had our back, and then we started going through the water treatment center. So right there, as we're set up on this potential, we had said, well, do we smud the ID? And they were like, negative. We just did this a couple of weeks ago. Fill us in on the story. You know, those 2 pieces of shrapnel snuck right in there underneath of the gunner shield, under the SAPI plate. I mean, it was like, it's an unbelievable thing. Just, I don't know. It's one of those deals where weird stuff like that, unfortunately, happens.
Oh, yeah.
Whether it's the timing or whatnot, I mean, it's just...
Yeah, Herrera's one of the nicest guys. You know, hearing him and not being with the boys, that really sucked. Because, I don't know, early 05, getting out, I had the choice. You know, it was like, do you want to extend? None of us extended because of the way we were treated that third deployment by our senior enlisted leadership. And so we were like, let's just get out of here. Well, the first 5 KIAs, 3 of them were third-timers. In fact, the day our little stick of Marines left to hitchhike a ride from Al Assad to home, literally was hitchhiking.
Right.
Corporal Starr from Bravo Company got killed, and he was a third-timer. I think that was Memorial Day too, if I'm not correct. Yeah, so that deployment was a hard one because one, I was saying goodbye to my best friends, especially Ski. And Ski, I bring this story up because it was North TCP. We had been filling sandbags on it.
Oh, God, on the fucking roof?
Oh, my. So when we got there, nothing was there. It was my open. God. And Lieutenant Russell, great guy, I'm still actually connected with him, was like, hey, guys, we got to fortify this place. So we started putting fencing on the second story, on the openings, filling sandbags. I mean, it was just nothing but sandbags. That's all you did was make fucking sandbags.
Oh, my God.
And as soon as they did that, they launched an attack. So just one day in the morning, I was like corporal of the guard at night shift because they were sort of did de-operationalize us so we could get ready to leave. And we'd switched. Ski and Lieutenant Russell and the boys took over North TCP, and they launched an attack on them. And from the water treatment, well, first it was mortars coming in across the river, and then the water treatment plant. There was a PKM or whatever opened up on the side of the building. My buddy Groff runs up to the 240 gunner that's up there, and I can't remember what happened. There was a jam or something. Groff cleared it, and then started laying down the hate and discontent.
Hell yeah!
And then, inside that, you know how I don't know if they changed it, but down in the like little parking lot area, that's where they searched all the vehicles.
Yep.
And so we had IPs there, and out comes out of a van, eight guys ready to just fucking throw down.
Woo!
Lobbing grenades, everything.
Oh my God!
And
it
was a complex
interaction.
Yeah, it was a complex attack. I mean, we had just gotten back on our foot patrol, and we just start kicking off. And we're like, oh shit.
Fuck yes.
Yeah.
Oh
so
my God.
Ski, that was the day Ski got his second Bronze Star.
That's the Super Bowl right there.
Yeah, him and Lieutenant Russell, because Reyes was out on, suicide bunker?
Oh.
And he was low on ammo, and he was calling for ammo and support. And so they did a mad dash out there. Fucking hand grenade blew up in front of Russell's face, and it actually it hit some nerves in his face, and so he had this like I think like a crazy smile that you couldn't like remove because of the nerve damage, and then he had right next to his like tear ducts there. He was like crying blood. It was. I got a sweet picture of it. I was like, that's pretty cool. I think they interviewed him in I think Esquire or GQ.
That's awesome.
And that one of those photos is on there. I think it's one of my profile pictures.
You are welcome on Cigars and Sea Stories anytime, sir.
Yeah, he's a.
Imagine a senior Marine locking you up, smiling crazy and crying blood like.
Oh my God!
Come here, motherfucker.
Where are you going next? The drill field.
No,
like, what? No.
Dave Russell, Lieutenant Russell. I mean, he had. Motherfucker was smart. He's one of those guys, real smart. Was he Academy grad, and just one of the big fucking head. We always joked with him about his head being fucking huge.
Right, that happened.
It's gravitational pull. Shit, I saw it with Fulo too. Fulo. So when we did the invasion in Iraq, Fulu had an RPG come in through the driver's window, bounce off his isomat. For whatever reason, we had the isomats around like the top of our doors. Go figure. Bounced off that and blew out the front window. We thought they were smoked, and luckily they weren't. He was fine. We just thought the gravitational pull of his head threw that rocket off.
That's right. All right, what we're gonna do is sling. Exactly. We're gonna sling.
Yeah,
we're gonna slingshot this Nader 7-round.
If you see, if you go to my profile pictures on the old Fache book, scroll down and you'll see LT Russell there with smiling like a maniac. He was actually at the time when he tells the story, he was shaving when the attack happened. So he runs out there with a fucking Santa Claus beard of shaving cream.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they did that assault on North TCP. That was pretty. And turns out they're all the truck. Reyes the day before, was going by, and Reyes, aboard Marine, had written like "wash me" on the side of the truck or whatever, the van, whatever.
Right.
And no shit, that's the one in the parking lot that out come these 8 guys.
Motherfuckers.
And they're all related. They're all Iranians.
Oh, of course they are.
Yeah, their passports and shit like that. But
you do have a Jufro. Oh, you're up in Falls Church?
Yeah.
Dude.
Go to church every day.
You're a hop, skip, and a jump.
Oh, I know. And I heard you get talking to that one guy from sergeant to CEO. And I bought his book and I reached out to him. I haven't heard back yet, but I'm just trying to build my network within the veteran community.
Where?
Especially some of the...
Dude, is this real? The guy's smile on here? The dude who's holding the fucking spear with the knife, is that who you're talking about? Who are you talking about?
Scroll all the way down to, you'll see Mercado with the belt-looped 240 or 249 ammo. Then above it, if you look on my profile pictures on my albums. Yeah, do
America,
that.
You need to check out Wade Spann on Facebook. Oh my God.
Do it.
Snowshoeing. This is going on. I'm saving this right now.
That's not me, by the way.
That's not you?
It's my doppelganger. I got to find this guy because I would wear, but my American flag shorts are make silkies look like fucking basketball shorts.
I thought that was you.
Yeah, no, my boss thought it was me too, so he tagged me in it. I laughed at it. No, if you scroll all the way down, you'll see like the last 6 or 7 pictures on the bottom of it. You'll see Russell's smile with a tear duct bleeding out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But
oh, yeah. He's got a pressure dressing on his left arm.
Yeah.
And his yoke's covered in blood and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, hand grenade blew up right in his fucking dome.
You
right in front of him.
Poor son of a bitch. Well, you know what? You're lucky.
Yeah, he's very lucky.
There you go.
And then you scroll...
I love the comment because it's like, yay! I remember that morning. Like, this is how Marines are. We're fucked up.
Yeah.
We're fucked up. The PRR made it, luckily. Thank God for that.
Yeah. There's another photo. There's one of me holding a flamethrower that we confiscated in Fallujah.
Oh, my.
With my buddy Cartwright. Cartwright, he got killed in Afghanistan in 2009, I want to say, or 2009. That was a bad November. At the time, Captain Glover was MARSOC doing poppy seed eradication missions with the DEA, and he had hit me up and said, "Hey, one of the DEA agents, he had been in his group had gotten in a helicopter crash, and the DEA agent got killed, and so he had emailed me and said, "Hey, can you go pay respects to this wake in Quantico?" And I was like, "Fuck yeah, I'll be there." This guy's wake, man. When you ever feel like you've accomplished something, this guy really had. I mean, he was smarter than a whip. Was on a plane and saw Marines, and was like, "That's what I want to become." And so over the summer before he started Harvard Law, and this is the early '90s, and I'm downplaying some of his accomplishments, but he just joined the Marines and enlisted as a reservist, an infantry guy. Then became an officer. Was at Bud's training or whatever when his OCS package came through or whatever. So they made him an officer. The guy on one of his deployments came back and he kayaked the whole Mississippi. He had GPS locations, resupply points that he had his wife resupply with water and MREs. I mean, this guy was beyond accomplished.
Fuck yes. That's fantastic.
Yeah, but so I went to that wake and then I ran into some of those guys that were in that helicopter crash from Glover's team. And they were like, "Hey, did you hear the news?" And I was like, "No, what's going on?" And they're like, "Well, Glover got hit." And I was like, "Oh fuck!" What had happened was a A-10. Yeah, and
friendly fire.
Yeah, it fucked him up. So I had to go up to freaking pay my respects at Bethesda, and for whatever, it was when the swine flu was big and rampant. I had gotten that fucking swine flu, and I was sick for like 2 weeks. And one of those weeks, I'm up there saying hi to Glover and seeing him, and he's all fucked up from that. He almost lost his leg, I think. And then I find out, I got word that Cartwright had been killed in combat. And Cartwright was Charlie. He was a good friend of mine. He was a sniper. Then went on to MARSOC, and his family was located in Maryland. So I went up there to pay my respects, and it was a shit month. November was just a shit month that year. But yeah, that was a good guys. Yeah, that third deployment, it was hard. Got home, got back to Pendleton, basically hitchhiking with 20 or 30 senior corporals, third time's over on an Army R&R flight from Dallas. Of course, we were belligerent drunks in Ireland and on the ride back. We were wearing our camis too, so we thought we were real fucking belligerent Marines there.
Hell yes.
Yeah, we were like, "You guys got civvies?" We're like, "What the fuck? We were in Ramadi. We didn't have no civvies."
Dude, we had Irish guys who were like, "You drink too much, you fight too much, all this other stuff," and this dude like slammed his pint down and walked away. We're all like, "Yeah!"
Shit, we were on this Army R&R flight, and they put us in the back. And the highest ranking one of us was maybe a sergeant, and we were just being belligerent as fuck to these Army guys. And they couldn't say shit to us because we were all short timers, so we were getting the fuck out. One of the guys got so drunk he locked himself in the airplane bathroom before takeoff because he was puking so much.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Oh, no. Oh, that's just bad.
So he just fell asleep pretty much once he took off?
Yeah, basically. From Ireland, Shannon, Ireland. I remember going to Iraq or Kuwait the first time. It was like a outsourced American Airlines it wasn't United. It was either Continental or American. And they had the freaking pilot's door open. And so we could walk up there with our guns and shit like that and hang out in the pilot's cockpit. Crazy. Crazy shit. But yeah, I got home in Pendleton, had about a month and a half to out process. And at the time, I think nowadays they'd probably have medically discharged most of the guys that I was with for their injuries and stuff like that. But at the time, medical discharge was something that was obscure to us, and it was, shit, I'm not staying in the Marine Corps any longer than I can. And my CO, who was actually, when you guys talked about, the dunk tanks, that footage of that Chinook hitting the cargo netting and then going in and drink.
Yeah.
Yes.
That he was one of the survivors. He was enlisted recon. And then he went Mustang and became an officer, Captain Butler. Now Lieutenant Colonel Butler now.
That guy was there when we went through the immersion trainer.
Yeah, I remember you guys talking on
oh my God, powerful. Where'd you go through the dunker? Porno?
No. They didn't have that shit then. It was down in San Diego area. Might have been what's that air winger place down there?
Oh,
Miramar. Yeah, it might have been there. I mean, this.
Oh shit.
Yeah, this was, and they didn't have those rebreather things either for us for the training. It was just.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, salt dog.
See,
Mike.
With that bullshit though, like, you got to make it through everything, and then that's the add-on. That's like, you know what I'm saying? You got to do the regular course, and then here's your Baywatch fucking scuba tank, fool. Like, you're just like, what? Okay, why are you giving me this now? Why did I use it the whole time? Right? No, because you're not gonna have it, or it's not gonna work. And it's like, what do you mean? Like, the one in the fleet's not gonna work. Why the fuck are you telling me that right now? Are you telling me for a fact that there's a deficiency out in the operating forces and no one's doing anything about it? Is that what you're trying to convey? Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, yeah, pretty much. Okay. All right.
Oh, by the way, Mike, I'm glad you have a beard because your butt chin is fucking horrible.
Do you like that, though?
Oh,
do you like it? Is it beautiful?
I don't have a chin. That's why I have a beard. But
you don't have a chin?
Nah, I'm missing the chin.
I'm sorry to hear that.
I was just going through y'all's pictures. No, I mean that rebreather thing is pretty sweet. But yeah, small world. Major Butler, or now Lieutenant Colonel Butler, he's now taken over. I want to say 3rd Raider Battalion. Yeah, I just keep in contact with. I keep in contact with a lot of the officers from my. I had the best officers leading us in combat, the best. Stallnecker was my first platoon commander. Great guy. Became a was it priest? I think that's what they're called. And then Captain Glover, Lieutenant Blanky was an awesome guy who's a local lawyer in the area now, and I actually got to use his services in the near future because I got a ticket last night, so I got to get that fixed.
Dun dun dun. Yeah, that veteran card doesn't work all the time.
Well, I got Purple Heart plates. Usually I get fucking away, but
motherfucker.
Who is this unpatriotic motherfucker that pulled?
I know. I wanted to ask him how much freedom cost.
You want to put him on blast real quick? What's this officer's name?
How
fast were we going? Let's see who's in the wrong on this one. What do we do?
93 and a 55.
Oh,
Allegedly.
Nope, you're fucked. Sorry, man.
Too pretty to go to prison.
Purple Heart plates, huh?
Yeah, I even have them bandied. I have one. They say one got me.
Oh man.
And then my buddy who was in 2-8, he's a good dude. I grew up with him. His father was a colonel for 3-8. He was a battalion commander for 3-8 years ago. His son, we grew up together in Northern Virginia, and he got hit out in Rawa. I think that's where he was, a little shithead town called Rawa or something out towards the Syrian border. Yeah. And so when we both got out, we stayed in the area because we had a good support network here. And he had a bigger truck than me. It's always a dick measuring contest. And one got me too. So we'd be lined up. It was pretty funny to see, But yeah, that was getting out. I literally, Major Butler, or at the time, what's his name? Captain Butler was like, hey, you want to extend? I was like, no, sir. Because if I get out now, I literally can make fall semester. Had I not made fall semester, or had I stayed extended, I'd be in there in the middle of the fall, having 2 or 3 months for myself to get in trouble. So for me, I got home, drove cross country with one of my brothers. It was a great time. And then got home on a Thursday. By Tuesday, the fall semester started at the community college. So whirlwind transition, to say the least. Wow. But it was good. I mean, it was a great experience. Education, I think you guys are always hitting the point of, hey, have a purpose, have a mission, have something. And I think for me, it was, I had committed myself to 3 things when I got out. I was going to go to school, going to bartend, and I was going to join a frat. I did 2 of the 3. I became a bartender and went to school. Didn't join a frat, didn't need to.
Right.
You were part of the biggest frat that also happens to be a freaking street fighting thug gang.
Right.
Yes, and that's where it paid off. I met a fellow injured Marine in the bars in Arlington, and we first did the sniff test, and I was like, "Oh, you're a PO, you're an engineer." And then I was like telling him about my Purple Heart, and he goes, "Oh yeah, I got one of those too." I was like, "Really? What happened to you?" And he kicks his leg, and it's not there. I was like, "Oh shit, you trumped me. I got to buy you drinks tonight." And from then on, me and him became real good friends. His name's Kevin Blanchard. He's involved in EBV. He's out there. He's a great dude. One of my best friends, lifelong buddy of mine. For me, I was humbled because I was, considered an injured service member just like him. And me and him, I went to GW because of him. He pressured me to go. I applied there in Georgetown, got into GW, didn't get into Georgetown. I should have put I was gay or something on my application.
You are.
It's not gay if you're wearing boot bands.
Exactly.
But so Kevin, me, and another veteran, Army guy, started the GW Veterans. Because I transferred there, so it was my junior year or senior year. I was the president. Kevin was part of it, and out of nowhere, we formed a group on GW because there was no advocacy for us. They were moving the VA certifying official off campus, and it was just like all these other student bodies had representation and had services, and we were like, you know what? We're paying our bills. The VA is going to pay these, the school bills. So we formed up and we started getting stuff done. We got GW to be the first school to accept the Yellow Ribbon program.
Oh, wow.
And that was at the time the most expensive school. The reason I went there was because it was the most expensive school at the time. And the VA I went under Voc Rehab. At the time, Voc Rehab only paid $500 a month, which is different now because they pay E5 with one dependent, same as your GI Bill. So we helped initially. We helped Senator Webb and his post 9/11 GI Bill campaign by knocking on Capitol Hill doors. Then that happened and gained momentum. Joined up with Student Veterans of America under Derek Blumke, who's a good friend, I'd like to say, and started doing stuff, a little bit of political stuff, but more on the actual like, hey, these guys need to get need these services. We need to have early registration because we're all grown men and we have other priorities other than just going to school. So yeah, but at the same time, that senior year rolled into. We had formed the group. I was the president. My best friend, Ski, took his life. That crushed me. It still is on top of my mind all the time. A week before Nelson had taken his life, we got our platoon and our company has a bad track record with suicides. I mean, it's something that we just can't put our finger on, and something I'm passionate about. But Nelson.
You know what I think that it is, brother, just to be honest with you, because we kind of are in the same boat. I honestly believe it's frustration. Yeah.
I mean, there's no silver bullet for the thing.
Right.
I actually testified before a congressional subcommittee on it. Actually, I'll send you, if you give me you guys his email, I'll send you my testimony. It's worth a read. You might enjoy it.
Hell yeah. We'll throw it up on the show notes here.
Yeah. What's called? So, formed up. Nelson had been recalled. He was an infantry guy. He was an 81. He was with us on Task Force Red Cloud in Fallujah. That's what our platoon call sign was Red Cloud. And got recalled, and they said, nope, you can't be an infantryman anymore. You're too banged up. And by them telling him no, I think that really, because we always refer to ourselves as infantrymen, I don't care what anybody says. You ask me what I did in the Marines, I was an infantryman. That was the biggest pride of my life. When I joined the Marine Corps, they said you can do any job you want because I tested high enough to qualify for all of them. I'm not saying I'm
that's
smart.
Why you're a 51.
Yeah, but I wanted
I
wanted to do a job that you can't do in the civilian world, and I was like, yeah, infantry. And I think a lot of us do the same thing.
Hell yeah.
People have a misconception about infantry, like, oh, it's a bunch of dumbasses that they just get moved there. Really, the smartest people I've ever met in my life were infantrymen.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you get some rocks, but you're gonna get rocks everywhere. And I don't agree with them making an infantry a fucking dumping ground for Marines as well.
No.
Hell no.
I think it's something that you need to have standards, and you can be removed from the infantry, a privilege, so to speak. But that's another story. That's another time. But yeah, we started this veterans group, and Nelson took his life. Ski, I had met him 6 months prior to this because he was in Bethesda. He was a SEER instructor up in Maine. What is that place called? Not Bangor.
No, I know what you mean. It's further north.
Yeah, he became a SEER instructor. He got meritoriously promoted. Ski, Wyron Ramadi, he got meritoriously promoted to staff sergeant.
Wow.
Division-wide, company-wide. I mean, that's just showing you how fucking much of a badass he was. Even with a tattoo on his neck, he was still. I gave him trash shit for that.
Fuck yes.
But I met. He was down in Bethesda doing a head. They were examining his head, and then I met up with him, and he was cognitively slower than me, and we were both in the same blast. And I think I have my theories on it, but I think I went to school out of the Marine Corps and started using my brain, and I still have short-term memory loss and all that stuff, but I picked up techniques and ways to remember things, mnemonic devices. I think that's what they're called, and. Just met up with Ski, and then, Ski had moved to, they had just established those Wounded Warrior regiments and battalions. So they moved him out to the West Coast to take over a platoon of those guys and help them transition as he was. And then I talked to him a week before right before Nelson's suicide, and he was telling me they were in out process and medically, and I was like, well, that's great, and at the time I was very spun up on educational benefits. I said, you got all these options, and we talked for like an hour and a half about it. And then him and another guy went up to Nelson's funeral to represent the battalion and us, and then he did that on a Friday, had barbecue with Lieutenant Russell on Sunday, and then Monday he'd taken his life.
Wow.
And
shit, man,
that was that fucks me up still today. But he was just a great guy. I mean, 2 Bronze Stars, a couple of Purple Hearts. He was a retread. He was the one retread that when he first came to the platoon, he didn't say shit to us. He just stood back and examined and let us, saw how things played. And for that, I really appreciated it, because he came to us with respect, because he knew we were, combat guys, and he hadn't been in combat, where all the other guys were trying to throw their rank around, which didn't mean shit in the infantry.
Right.
So yeah, ski was great, through and through. And, that fucked me up. It was going into, my senior year. So I got asked if I would, testify on a congressional subcommittee for, suicide prevention. And, so I did that. That was a really cool experience. Then we rolled into senior year at GW, and I started connecting with veterans all over the fucking place. I met my buddy Graham. He's a 3.8 Marine. Yeah, he's 3.8. So he came in, his unit came in, I think, after you guys, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so this is why I want to connect y'all, because I guarantee our Sea Stories are going to just connect the dots through and through, like the whole 2 years that our units were through that area.
Beautiful.
Met him, met a bunch of other infantrymen. It was crazy. GW had a shit ton of Marine infantrymen for being such a quote-unquote higher educational place. But yeah, did some great things at GW, graduated with an international degree. I thought I wanted to go into DS, diplomatic security. One time I testified again later, that when I graduated on behalf of vocational rehabilitation, because at the time they were trying to push for the VA to give the same payout as, say, your post 9/11 GI Bill. So I testified how I worked Thursday, Friday, and Saturday as a bartender to make ends meet, because I moved into the city to be closer to school, and happened that way. Testified for that, and I like to think I was part of the reason they changed the law.
Where were you a bartender?
I bartended at two places. At the time, I bartended at a place. I was the only male bartender at this bar. It was called 11th Street Lounge in Clarendon, across from Mr. Days.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a martini lounge place. It was great. Loved it. And then I also bartended at my friend's. Well, at the time, my buddy was a bartender there, but he's now the owner of Quarterdeck.
Quarterdeck. Okay.
It's right behind the Iwo Jima Memorial, up the hill.
Yep.
It's a crab shack. And behind the bar, there's a picture of Chesty Puller. So this place is good.
Hell yes.
That was, I mean.
Everyone walks in and has to put their hands in their pockets for a little bit.
Right. There you go. It's mandatory.
It's a crab shack, but it's a great little spot. I was drinking there before I was even of age, because I had one of my buddies work there.
We're going.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Oh, yes.
We're coming up. All right.
Yeah.
Let's see here. I'm pulling out the calendar right now. The weather's getting nice. It's beautiful.
I guess. The weather in Clarendon. Yeah, you've been up this way.
I got a TED Talk next weekend.
Yeah, congratulations on that. I want to know how you did that.
I applied. And threw myself into it. All right, here we go. Saturday the 26th. We're getting crab.
Oh, okay, hold on. Let me go to my calendar.
It's happening. There it is, America. This is how things happen.
All right, so I've got tickets to the Cherry Blossom Beer and Wine Festival with my coworkers from 1 to 4, and you can get tickets still too.
That's cute.
It might. It's going to be near the Nat Stadium. It's fun. I mean, talk about having a good time. I recommend, if you're going to come up that weekend, and you're more than welcome. You guys are always welcome to crash at my place. I got a nice stabbing cabin for the boys. So yeah, come on out.
That's what's up.
Yeah, I got my bear rug. You guys can wrap yourself around in my bear rug. And
GI Film Festival is coming up here. We should get together with Marty Scovelin, Matt Sanders.
Love me some Marty.
All those guys. Let's get together. You're in the area. You're in the right area. You got the pad.
Yeah.
There you go.
More than welcome to.
See,
yeah.
This is how it works. Veterans helping veterans.
No, that's and to be honest, that's really the reason why I wanted to jump on your show, was to try and connect with you all. Two, put my name out there, that if you need resources or you need some guidance, please. I have a lot. The fortunate thing about me coming home to here was there was an internal network. There's a lot of military. My family and friends were here, and so I credit a lot of my success to having that internal network here, where I know guys that got out and they moved back to that same small town that they swore they were leaving, and that's why they joined the Marine Corps. Mm-hmm. And so I always try to push resources to them and connect the dots for them. And right now I'm working with a nonprofit out of San Francisco that helps veterans get that had negative discharges to get those overturned so they can get service, because it's catch-22. They had problems dealing with the stress of coming home from combat, but they didn't know how to deal with it. And the Marine Corps leadership didn't really understand it either, because it was early 03, 04, and 05. So these guys turned to negative ways of coping, and they got the boot for it. A lot of my buddies got the boot for it. Because one of my buddies, this is actually a funny story. The guy who was our driver during the invasion was Selinsky. Selinsky's uncle was the guitarist for Billy Idol. So when we came back from that first deployment, he hit up his uncle, was like, "Hey, I heard you're going to be in Orange County performing." So we got backstage passes.
Yeah.
We never met Billy Idol or any of them. They left as soon as they played, but we got to hang out with the opening band, which was a chick lead singer rock band, and we got all fucked up with them. And of course, illicit things were allegedly passed around. I did not partake, but some did. And then next day, what did we have? The old drug test. So the guys popped.
Figure.
Yeah, it was like fucking timing. Wow, great. And lost a couple of my buddies due to that. And looking at the time, looking back on it now, I don't blame leadership at it, because they just didn't have the understanding and the grasp. None of us did, of what combat and the stressors can do to you, and the ill decisions you make afterwards. I think we now, as Marines, I think they even train people on this now. So there's much more visibility. And to me, I've got to help those guys out that are in that predicament, that can't get the services they need to get better. So it's one of those things I'm working on. They're called Swords to Plowshares. I can connect any. She has an affinity for grunts. So if there's any guys out there that need that help, please send them my way, and I'll connect the dots.
Hell yes. Well, you got an email address you want to throw out there for everybody, just to be able to connect with you straightways?
Yeah. Well, am I going to get a bunch of dick pics in my email account?
Probably.
Only for me. But I mean, that's going to happen anyhow.
What do you think of this merkin?
I can fill a timeline. Let me tell you what. Looks like a button on a fur coat.
No, Mike, I got to compliment you. What you're doing with the 5-paragraph order and stuff like that. It's been so many years since I've done any of that crap, and it's a refresher for me. And I'm trying to tailor it to my own business right now, within my own, what I'm doing, selling software, that 5-paragraph order business plan. I'm taking your resources and I'm using them for my gain. I just want you to know that.
Wonderful. Please do. That's awesome.
Yeah. So, I mean, the things I really try to stay connected with the old boys. And last year, we had a reunion, a 10-year Ramadi reunion out in Lake Tahoe.
Yeah.
And a local charity in Northern Virginia, because of the people I know in the network, I got connected with a charity called Azalea's Charities.
Yeah.
And they donated over $23,000 towards our reunion. Wow. So we were able to buy guys flights, hotel rooms that couldn't afford it. And the sad thing is most Marines don't want to admit that they can't afford it. So we phrased it in a certain way when we put our messaging out there, and we got almost I think 94 of us showed up to that reunion.
I will admit right now that I cannot afford it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, and then that's the thing. We were able to, this charity I told my story, told them, the suicides issues. And one of the worst suicides was a guy named Heinzig. We didn't find out about it until I think 2009, 2010. He had killed himself in 2006, and we just found out about it. And it was fucked up the way it went down. His dad was I think his dad was former service as well. His dad was trying to push him to get help so he could be able to because he had a kid with a woman. I think you have kids with women, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think. Well, I mean, they're supposed to.
Yeah, the kid, and she was keeping him from seeing his child, and so, his dad was kind of pressuring him to get treatment so that he could, be able to see his son. And unfortunately, Heinzig thought it was appropriate to take his life, and he did it right in front of his father. Oh. And 6 months later, his father took his life.
Oh.
And to find out about it 3 or 4 years later, you're just you feel like a fucking dirtbag. These social media tools have really, I stay connected through that.
Right. Yeah.
Early 05, 06, we didn't really have it. You had MySpace. And I don't fucking remember that shit. But
right.
it's been a crutch for me. You know, I can contact guys and check on them, and it sucks when you can't reach out. Like, so right now I'm trying to find my old roommate. Me and him, he was in a sister battalion in boot camp. I was 3094, he was 3092, and he big, call him Stack. The last name was Staples. Big, huge brother, just jacked. He his cousin was Maurice Claret out of Ohio State.
Okay.
One of those football players.
Yeah.
And he was bigger than his cousin. And me and Stack were roommates the whole time in the Marine Corps. We, you know, he was a 51 as well. We went to SOI together. And then me and him were stuck as roommates. And we just, first couple months, we just argued and fought each other all the time. I mean, I'm not fighting him, but then we became brothers. I mean, you know, we'd take him to the clubs and he'd be the one hitter quitter.
Oh.
Well, I mean, that's how it usually starts. You know, there's that friction, there's that posturing and the peacock show, and then once everyone's, you know, throwing their blows in, then everybody's pretty chill.
Oh yeah, I used to fuck with him because like he was lazy, so field day was always a struggle with him. I'd have to coerce him to do shit in the field day because I'm a OCD guy, I guess, for field day, and I was a good little boot. I just cleaned head to toe, and me and him became fast friends. In fact, one time on leave, I brought him home. And showed Stack, took him to the ocean. And, you know, brothers, they don't like the water. But all my friends loved him, and he's a great dude. And we got out, and he went back to Ohio. And last thing we heard was he had some assault charges and was in prison. And I'm working with that organization in San Francisco to try and locate him. I feel like I let him down. So, you know, those type of things I try to do now. As far as entrepreneurship, I want to get myself involved more. I want to get into more of a startup role. I don't know. I don't want to say I want to be the CEO. I want to be there to support and help people and build the businesses, sort of like what you're doing, Michael, with the BD work. That's something that I have a passion for, and I know where my skills lie.
Well, that's a beauty part of the veteran space is that there's so many things going on, so many different people trying to roll out in different directions, and everybody's working as adjacent units to each other. That it's like, hey, do you guys know a guy that is good at, you know, social media? Yeah, of course. Here is his contact information. You make that connection, you know, just like you're talking about. And
was that Daniel Evans? I was listening to that one earlier. The social media guru, the Marine, the gunny or whatever.
Right,
oh, yeah.
So, I mean, there's a bunch. I mean, everybody knows everybody, and everyone's like one step removed because of that familiarity with being veterans. So, I mean, as soon as you're ready to step off from software and into this realm, like fully, let us know, man. We'll lock in the network as best we can, and you already have your network, and I think the two will join up very nicely.
It's frustrating because, you know, I thought I had some ideas for, you know, some business ideas, and none of them really, you know, they weren't where my passions lies. Right now, I've got experience every place I've worked, from when I was working with the British private security company. When I did a year in Iraq, and then they brought me in to work corporately in Virginia here, because they're going to go after State Department contracts, so they had to have a separate entity and all, etc. And I started a veteran hiring program, like internship. And basically these guys, I went to the damn GW vets and said, hey, give me some guys that want to make a decent hourly wage, and they'll go through DD 214s and rewrite them into Department of State lingo. And started that. That was successful. Then I also, you know, I got brought onto the company I'm now because of a under the radar wounded veteran hiring program. The guy that interviewed me was out of, what's that? It's the Army's Italy unit that you know, has all those Medal of Honor recipients. It's first of a 503rd or 6th. I can't remember. Fucked up Army units they named, and
they're huge.
Yeah, but yeah, he was over there. He had dude. I gotta connect you guys. You'd love this guy. He's been in sales for 7 years now, but he's, you know, came in as an intern. He was in Walter Reed getting ready to get discharged, and you know, one of these affluent people in the area was like, listen, don't go back home to LA, stay here. We're going to find you a job and we'll start you that way. And he got in this program, he built it out. And Jetto at the time, you know, he was the first service member to get a cadaver eye and installed in his in the eye socket that he lost. He had a building crush him. So he was left out on an OPLP or LPOP, and the other guy in the morning, right in our stand 2, went back to the fob to get more batteries for the radio or something like that. And that's when the Taliban attacked him. And his position was pretty much overrun. And the guy that was gone back basically was like, no, I see him. And I'm boiling this story down quickly, so don't go into the details. But, he basically told the fact that, hey, no, I see him out there. He's still there. He's alive. So they wouldn't drop bombs on him from fixed wings. What had happened was Jeddah got in this building that was next to his little outpost. The Taliban tried to overrun it, and they collapsed the building on top of him. And he was saved because he climbed down into the fucking shithole to fucking bleed out and wait for those guys to get out of there.
So he climbed. Okay, so he was like, "Fuck it. There's no other parapet around here. I'm gonna jump into the shithole."
Well, it was like an abandoned, Afghan's house or it was an Afghan house or something like that. And yeah, there was like that little squatty potty,
right?
Little area. So he crammed himself in there, I guess. And they were on top of the rubble shooting, but I guess they didn't really know where he was exactly. But yeah, he was all fucking shot up and banged up. That company alone has 2 Living Medal of Honor recipients, so that shows you.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it fucking. The fortunate thing I've had is the ability to meet a lot of humbling people. Like, when I was the GW president, I got to do the inaugural ball for Obama the first time. We got to go to the Medal of Honor reception for the inauguration. And I can tell you, no shit, there were so many Medal of Honor recipients that there wasn't enough seats for them. So they're sitting around this fountain with their dinner in their laps and their wives next to them eating eating chow. And I was like, holy shit, there's a lot of you guys, to be around one, you're like, holy shit. I was around like 35 of them. Like, Corporal O'Malley from Vietnam, the first living Marine to be awarded it. He is through and through. He's like, yeah, I think my L2 was trying to get me killed. He didn't like my Lance Corporal ass. You hear that sort of stage, you're like, wow. Yeah, met him. Met the pilot from We Were Soldiers once, Snake Eyes. And that guy's still a freaking pilot through and through. Was, talking to all the girls that we brought with us, chatting them up. I've met some really cool, met living medal recipients of honors from this war, from Afghanistan. I didn't, there's one thing I regret from the Marine Corps was I didn't get to Afghanistan, although 1-5 did, and they took a shit ton of casualties. I mean, Penny, you were there.
We fucked shit up.
Do you remember
telling
Lopez?
You that much. Do I remember Lopez?
Lopez and Martinez both stayed
I
in.
do believe there's about 1 million fucking Lopez's and Martinez's in the Marine Corps.
Lopez and Martinez both were weapons company, and I think Lopez went to Afghanistan, or he stayed behind. He might have been stayed behind. He was one of our boots.
So, well, I don't want to say yes. I don't want to say yes. All of a sudden, there are a shit ton of Martinez's. I was on the police advisor team, and so my team was it was kind of weird. My experience in 1-5 was detached a lot of the time, and so I was proud to be a member of 1-5, albeit we only worked together when we were in Sangin for the last 2 months of the deployment.
How sweet was that French Fortege?
It was pretty badass. Let me tell you what.
Boot, I got a boot to the fleet, and I only had that Firewatch ribbon.
Right.
Still made me fucking look good. And then when you start adding that stack on it, you're like, yeah, a fucking big old swinging dick. We always had our ball in Vegas.
Right.
Not prim,
exactly.
but we had it in proper in Vegas, the Orleans Hotel. Sergeant Major ensured that we did.
All right, I got to cut you off there. Those are stories for another time. Sorry, listeners. Go ahead, subscribe, rate, review. In case you're wondering, we're chatting with Wade Spann. I know that we've been going back and forth. Wade Spann, fellow Marine, combat veteran, doing great things with a variety of units, including international. Thanks so much for coming on, brother. And it's always great to hear that you're, helping fellow vets and stuff like that. We will be in touch. We'll be connecting.
Yeah, I got it on my calendar, 26.
This is happening, brother. You connected with either the right or the wrong people, because we're going to be like, hey, you know this guy? You want to talk to this guy? Fuck
yeah, definitely. I can't wait to use and abuse you guys.
Right on.
Get the fuck out. Oh, my God. All right. Subscribers, go ahead. Find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Player FM. You can click the button on our website, which there might be a new one coming out here pretty soon.
Little
Hey.
teaser. Little teaser.
Little teaser there. Just the tip.
Just for a second.
Got me gooey at the fork.
There it is. Hey, special thanks to our sponsors that are out there. First Data, you guys are doing a landing page for us, and it's going to be awesome, when we have it. So that'll be cool. But First Data is fantastic, folks. They are hooking up veteran-led businesses with rates I've seen as low as 1.2%. Can't guarantee anything over the rate in Moreau. Go ahead and give us a call, and we'll put you in touch with all the right folks. Counter-Strike Coffee, 10% off with coupon code Cigars and Sea, and veteranslist.us. Get a featured membership, 50% off when you type in Cigars and Sea. Thank you so much to all of our listeners. Give us your comments, get in touch with us, come on the show and share Cigars and Sea Stories. Wade Spann, thanks so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure, bro.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Jocelyn, cue the music.